Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Lluch, and welcome back to Careers Explained. Today, we're going to be interviewing Alan Sorgi. Sorgi is currently working as an intellectual property monetization expert. He holds a B.S. electrical engineering degree from LMU in Los Angeles, a master's in electrical engineering from San Diego State, and was selected as the top executive from his company to attend the prestigious UCSD EPSC program to study with 20 other top executives from San Diego companies for a long year program. This program is a specialized master's level program for top executives in San Diego. Alan has spent the last 15 years helping companies monetize their intellectual property through licensing and sales of their intellectual property. He has been involved in generating over $500 million in licensing revenue. He holds over 30 patents in wireless and wired communications. Alan, how are you doing today?
Very good.
Good. I'm glad that you made time to be interviewed by me. So, first off, how was your high school experience? Did you know what you wanted to do? How was that?
Yeah, it was good. I went to a private high school and I studied math, physics, chemistry in high school, and so I always knew I wanted to go into more science type things. And I thought at first I wanted to be a doctor. And
Okay.
after talking to my father and some of his friends, he was an engineer, and I always liked working around on cars and in the garage and just building, robots and things like that. So I thought I should study engineering, and I went into electrical engineering. That's kind of how I made that choice.
Oh, nice. So, in college, how did you balance, recreation, your fun, and your schoolwork? Because I know for a lot of high school students, when they, think of college, they think of, partying and stuff like that. But how did you balance that situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. Difficult as an engineering student.
Yeah,
Typically, as an engineering student, you take about 18 classes, which is typically one to two more than most other people take.
yeah,
And you're taking some pretty difficult classes. You're taking chemistry, physics, electrical engineering classes, mathematics, etc. So it is difficult because you're studying, 40 hours plus you're going to school another, 18 hours. So a good chunk of your time is all about school.
right,
What you do is you have to really segment it. One of my professors told me in college, he said, "Here's what you need to do. You need to study hard, you need to play hard. So you really need to segment those two. Never mix and match."
okay,
And that I've taken through with life.
right,
If I'm at work, I'm working. If I'm at home, I'm having fun. And that's kind of what I applied to college.
yeah,
And so on Friday night and Saturday night, I had fun.
yeah,
On Sunday, I had fun. The rest of the week, I was studying, pretty hard. I wasn't out partying, every other night. I wouldn't have made it through the program.
right, yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. I think what my dad always have told me is it's all about a balance. So you work hard and play hard. So that kind of what you said on like Fridays and Saturdays, I hang out with friends, but I know that throughout the week, I have to work hard in order to maintain good grades and be successful. You know. Um, so while you were in college, did you maintain the same passion for engineering and science that you did in high school?
It actually grew.
Okay.
The passion actually grew.
Okay.
And I think the reason why that was the case is because you start taking classes on things that you really are passionate about. So
Right.
your grades tend to get higher. You tend to work a lot harder at it because
Yeah.
you're a lot more interested. And I think that's the key to life. You want to find something that you are passionate about. You don't just want to study something to get out of college.
Yeah.
College is all about finding that passion because you're going to end up doing it for the next 40 years. I remember
Right.
one professor coming in and talking to us at senior year of college and saying, anybody doesn't like this should probably change their major in that. We
Right.
all laughed,
Right.
and we said our dads would kill us.
Right.
And he was right because that 4 years that you spend, if you have to spend an extra year, it's not a big deal because your career is going to be another 40 years after that. So you might
Right.
as well be happy. And you're usually happy if you're doing something you're passionate about.
Yeah. That's interesting because sometimes when you go into college, you realize that it's not fit out for you. But that's interesting that it grew, because I know for me, when I find something that I'm passionate about, I really go after it. So that's good that it grew for you. Um, so after college, what did you go into as a profession?
Yeah, I went in. I got my bachelor's in electrical engineering, and I went into designing electrical things. I worked on things like one of the first handheld computers in the world,
Really?
laptop computers. I worked on wireless. One of the things that we worked on were we didn't call it back then, but this is what we were texting messages over a Wi-Fi network. We didn't call it a Wi-Fi network at the time. That wasn't even invented at the time.
Yeah.
So we were working on items like that, and then that's kind of how I started my career. I worked at the system level. I designed circuit boards, FPGAs, and then I went to an ASIC house and started designing ASICs and,
Okay.
and things of that nature. That's in like wireless communications and also wired communications, and that kind of spawned me to go off and get a master's in electrical engineering, and I got one an emphasis in communication theory, which is all about how cell phones work, wireless communications, etc.
Okay. Nice. So you spent the last 15 years helping companies monetize their property through licensing and sales of their intellectual properties. Can you explain that?
Yeah, certainly. So what I do there is I help them mine their intellectual property. We look at patents, we look at trademarks, we look at any kind of intellectual property. It could be a piece of code that they wrote for a different application. Maybe they wrote it for a cell phone, and they want to. They don't think it has any value anymore, and maybe we can look at that and apply it and get some licensing revenue and apply it to laptops. So basically, what we do is we take a lot of stuff that they've actually developed, especially patents, and that they may think are worthless. We look at them, we analyze them, we help them put a story together to basically monetize those assets, basically license them
Yeah.
to other people that have a use for them, a startup company, a large company, etc.
Right.
So that's really what we do.
Right. And can you explain a patent real quick?
Yeah, sure. A patent is simply put is a right to exclude. Let's get rid of all that terminology, and basically it covers your invention. So if you've invented something, and basically it gives you a right that to exclude anybody else from doing that same invention for a period of time, typically around 20 years or so.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. And how would one get a patent?
One gets the patent by first inventing something, then usually going out and hiring a patent attorney and working with them. The process takes about 5 to 15 hours of your work and working with the patent attorney. And the patent attorney will file the patent and work with the PTO, Patent and Trademark Office, in any country. In the United States, it's called the USPTO, for United States Patent and Trademark Office. But Europe is called EPO, and there's lots of names in other countries. And they will work with the Patent and Trademark Office for usually a year to 3 or 4 years, arguing back and forth, saying that your invention is the actual invention that they should patent and
Yeah.
give you the right. And that's what it takes. It takes a few years and
Yeah.
about 15 hours or so of your time.
Yeah. So how would they, decide if that person who filed the patent actually invented that?
What they do is when you file a patent, it's a document, 30 or 40 pages, that basically describes your invention. The patent office takes that. The patent examiner will look at that. He'll read your patent, and then what he will do is he will do a prior art search, and he will search for all of your anybody that's invented anything similar
Yeah.
to the to that. And if there's nothing similar, or nothing that predates it, you actually get the invention.
Nice, nice. So, what would you say is needed to be successful in your career?
I think in my career, in the electronics area, electrical engineering, I think education is really key.
Okay.
You need degrees, and I think in today's world, I say degrees plural. I think you need a bachelor's. I think you need a master's in this world. A PhD is very nice, but the more education, the better. Like myself, I have 3 degrees: a BSEE, an MSEE, and a master's in business. And I think all 3 of those really make me well-rounded. And I think that's the key. I think you want to be well-rounded and you want some depth knowledge. You want to separate yourself from the next person. And I
Okay.
think education is a great way to do that.
Okay. So, what would you say is a reasonable salary range to expect in someone in your career?
Starting out, I think electrical engineers are making somewhere between $60,000 and $90,000 their first year.
Okay.
You know what they studied and how good their grades were.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Finally, would you have any tips or advice to a high school student or anyone else that's trying to advance in this profession?
Yeah, I hit on the education piece, and I think beyond that, there's 2 skills that everyone needs, and I think one is being able to write very very well, and number 2 is being able to speak in front of people. I
Okay.
think getting involved in things like Toastmasters and things of that nature are will help you immensely. They'll
Okay.
help you be able to sell yourself. And I
Yeah.
think in any career, it's great to have the knowledge, but you really need to be able to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And things like Toastmasters and public speaking is a must. I know every high school student sits there and says, "Well, I can't speak in front of people. It's
Right.
there's too many people." Well, we all have that fear. We all grabbed that podium and said 3 words and said, "How do I get out of here as fast as I can?"
Right.
Um, but practice makes perfect, and things like Toastmasters really, really help with that. And after your 10th or 15th or 20th speech, it becomes old hat really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And I kind of like what you said about being well-rounded, because I think to like what you said, to kind of show that you're capable of doing something, you got to show that you have different skill sets. So I think what you said about being well-rounded is very important.
Yeah, yeah. I think playing sports really
Yeah,
helped. Playing
definitely.
team sports, playing individual sports, all that stuff really, really helps. And that's all about being well-rounded. It has
Yeah,
nothing to do with school, but getting along with people and how to manage people, etc.
yeah, definitely. Well, Alan, thank you so much for taking the time to be interviewed today. I bet everything that you said is going to help inspire everyone who watches this video to hopefully pursue in their ambitions and their passion about this career. Any last words that you have to say to people who are watching today?
Follow your passion, go after it, and the money will come. You don't put the cart before the horse. I
Yeah,
think that's the number one thing I can tell you.
yeah,
Uh, so
yeah.
that's all I have to say.
Finally, my name is Alexander Lluch, and this is Careers Explained. Please check out my other videos to check out other professionals in various careers, and hopefully that will help you find out what your future career choice is. Thank you.